The elegance and futuristic style combined with extraordinary engineering from around the world, and it all comes together in this incredible building in the northwest corner of the United States. Welcome to the Boeing factory in Seattle. It is the largest building in the world by volume, and this is a final production line for the revolutionary 787. Behind me you can see a British Airways plane pushing through, and behind that the very first Jetstar 787. Let me say that again, this building is massive. You could comfortably fit Disneyland inside or 40 footy ovals. That's a lot of MCGs. This reporter's been invited to Seattle as a guest of Qantas to watch the new Jetstar 787s come together. For most passengers, well, planes are a little bit like sausages and taxes. When you're up in the air, you probably don't want to know how they're made. But this is the first Boeing aircraft designed this century, and the company that brought us the industry-changing 747 is determined to repeat that success with a far more modern design.
It's very exciting to see the plane come together here in Seattle. We're at final assembly at the moment. It's great to see all the major components now being put together for the aircraft.
Jetstar is investing big in the 787. 14 deliveries expected from September this year, replacing the older nemesis, the Airbus A330, on its international routes. But there's one giant carrot hanging at the end of this production line for airlines like Jetstar.
The 787 burns 20% less fuel than the other airplanes in its size comparison.
That will translate into lower costs for us, which helps us to keep downward pressure on fares. But also there's a lot of great customer benefits in this aircraft.
Being on the factory floor here in Seattle, it's incredible watching the 787 come together. It literally starts as huge separate pieces that come in from the back door, and over 10 to 13 days they're all slotted together, and after that time it's almost ready to fly. The 787 features parts manufactured at Fisherman's Bend in Melbourne. These men are installing the movable trailing edges on the Jetstar 787.
It's fantastic to see Australian technology and jobs that have been created in Australia to produce parts for this aircraft.
For passengers, the 787 provides larger windows that can darken with a touch of a button. Psychologists employed by Boeing during the design phase found that a bigger window makes a big difference.
Any passenger that has any kind of travel sickness knows that being able to see the horizon, even if it's through a dimmed window, helps to calm that down a little bit. And there's small features like that throughout the airplane.
But once an airline buys an aircraft, how do they choose the interior? This is the Boeing facility in Seattle, where airline executives from around the world can come here and literally design their own aircraft, from the sorts of seats they want to the overhead lockers and even the toilets. Now, the whole thing is made out of foam, allowing the executives and the designers to literally pull apart the aircraft and put it back where they want it to go. You can literally choose every aspect of the aircraft. Want a coffee machine? Well, here's 5. A toilet? They have the Royal Flush.
The customers need to understand what they're getting in the airplane. They spend a lot of money getting the airplane. Now they need to create an experience for the passengers. So this is where we create that customization. We create that interior that's so important to the flying public.
How is that different from what was available before with previous aircraft?
So in the past, we would have catalogs and what I affectionately call death by PowerPoint. And we would go through and show them what it will look like.
But they wouldn't know how it would look until it arrived.
That's correct. So a lot of things used to be custom and very, very expensive. Galleys are custom made for each airline, for each airplane type. You're just trying to cook, you're just trying to heat food and make coffee and things like that. So why does it have to be so complicated?
I'll just take your words. Why does it have to be so complicated? That seems to be the theory in designing the interior of the cockpit as well, to try and remove a lot of the detail, to put the focus on what the pilot needs to be aware of.
Right. The whole idea of cockpit design is, if there's nothing I can do about it, why do you have to tell me about it?
Jetstar's own pilots provided feedback on the plane's design.
Every manufacturer is different. They have their good and their points that you could improve on.
Which is a great segue for me to bring up the elephant in the room. If you've heard the term 787 over the past 4 months, it's probably been because of this. The lithium-ion battery, which was introduced on the 787 and caused the grounding of the entire fleet. There's no doubt this is an impressive aircraft, but it hasn't been all smooth sailing. There were massive delays from the outset, then the recent problems with the lithium batteries. But despite all that, Jetstar believes it will be one of their best aircraft.
The takeaway for me was how quickly Boeing, firstly, and then the FAA, the Federal Aviation Administration, worked to redesign the battery, recertify it and make it very safe.
The 787 was designed for the modern marketplace. As the oil price soared, manufacturers like Boeing turned their driving focus to efficiencies. Aircraft design over the past 15-20 years seems to be more about efficiency and making the airlines happy. What about the passengers? Do you think planes will get faster? Do you think from here we'll start to look towards making passengers happier as well?
We did look at going faster before we decided to go with the 787. And really what we found is until you can go significantly faster, that speed advantage doesn't buy you much. I think you're going to continue to see efficiency gains, but you're also going to see improvements in the cabin for the passengers.
It's not just the 787 produced in this factory, but the 777 as well. By the end of last year, Boeing had produced more than 1,000 of these incredibly popular long-distance aircraft. And on this production line, there are 6 at any one time, and they move around 2 inches every hour. At a factory in Renton, a suburb of Seattle, the 737 production line hums along with ambitions of increasing delivery of aircraft to 42 a month. The production line is similar to the car companies, and on this day Qantas received its 101st 737 to be flown back to Australia via Hawaii and Fiji.
The Boeing product is very synonymous with many of the things that Qantas is as well, around safety, operational efficiency and also customer service.
This brand new jet ready to begin domestic services in Australia. Ahron Young, Sky News, Seattle.